So Jump Festa is coming up soon, and people have been speculating on what the next Yu-Gi-Oh anime series is going to be. I've seen a lot of discussion revolving around a DM reboot, and I just want to put my 2 cents into this. I'll just let you know that much of what I'm going to say in this video relates to my last video, which I think puts into perspective why Konami has gone down this path for the past 4 years. So if you want better context, I highly recommend you check out that video just to get a better understanding. Okay, let's start with the biggest problem with this idea, and it's the main game itself. From Konami's perspective, the anime has always been this giant advertisement to gain new players. That has always been the goal from their standpoint. However, we all know that this game has gone way too complicated. Even the anime writers themselves have admitted that writing duels for the main game has become complicated. According to a post from Yugioh organization, a journalist named Natalie interviewed a duel writer who worked on the anime since DM, and he's admitted that writing duels during the Arc V and Vrains era was a pain in the ass for him and the others just because of the nature of the game itself. The average person is just not interested in watching characters perform long combos. No one wants to watch a 5-minute tier combo except tier players themselves, who are already a minority group. The anime is meant to be entertaining, but over the years it became harder and harder to do that. Some might say, what about the OCG Structures manga? From what I've heard, it's not that popular, and apparently they skip the combos and just go straight to the end board during duels, cause having to draw all that would just be a giant pain in the ass for anyone who has to write the manga. Plus, when you add on what happened with Master Rule 4 in my last video, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains helped out their situation, so that's another factor to consider. While Vrains has a special place in my heart, I don't think Konami has any positive views on it. After all, if Vrains was so successful, why did they change things in 2020? I'll tell you why. From their data and what Master Rule 4 did, Vrains wasn't as successful as people thought it would be. If something is successful for a company, they wouldn't make drastic changes, but that's not the case here. It shows that trying to advertise the main game to the average person isn't as easy as it was before. The reason I brought all this up is because people have thought of 2 ways to present a DM reboot that I think falls under this problem. The first way is by having Yugi and Kaiba play with modern cards, as over the years Dark Magician and Blue Eyes have received multiple supports, especially recently with the new Blue Eyes structure deck. So you would see stuff like Yugi making Dragoon and Kaiba making his new Synchro, and while it looks cool for a person who already plays the game, it doesn't solve the core problem that I brought up before. Just because Yugi and Kaiba are the face of this new reboot doesn't solve the complicated game problem, even if it's Dark Magician or Blue Eyes. Usually Konami wants the anime to parallel with the game to show how it's played, but if this DM reboot doesn't solve the complicated game problem, then I don't think Konami has any interest in adapting this idea. The next idea I've seen people bring up is a DM reboot, but one that is more faithful to the original. Basically, it's giving DM a new coat of paint and making it look better. However, now I think you have a new problem. If this new anime is going to be faithful to the original, then all the other mechanics can't be in it, and if a new player gets into the game through this anime and goes up against the other mechanics, they'll be confused as hell. I know someone might just say, read the instructions, problem solved, but as I said before, Konami wants to try to align the anime with the main game, so if you did a faithful adaptation to DM, in my opinion, it would mislead new players. Now, some might say just reboot the game, and if you think that's a good idea, please watch my last video. I know I sound like a shameless plug here, but I think people in the TCG should be aware of what happened during Master Rule 4. As I said, it gives context for why Konami's been doing what they've been doing for the past 4 years, and it all goes back to how Master Rule 4 blew up in their face. So yeah, with all that said, that's why I believe a DM reboot won't be as beneficial as people make it out to be. Everywhere I go, I see people saying that a DM reboot would help a lot, but I think they overlook the problems a Master Rule anime would have nowadays. I mean, if Konami was going to do a DM reboot, they most likely would have done in 2020, because that would have been a good time to overhaul the game in my opinion. But after what Master Rule 4 did, it's most likely the reason why Rush came to exist. Again, I speak on this in my last video. Now, there is one thing I should mention because I know people will bring up and ask why I didn't talk about it earlier, and it's Kazuki Takahashi. Whenever talks about a DM reboot come up, people will bring up how it disrespects Takahashi's legacy, as it would change the story he created. I will say this, yes, it does feel wrong doing a reboot without him, but what I'm trying to do in this video is show that there are more reasons why Konami won't do a reboot than just Takahashi. Not because they hate him or anything, we don't know anything about their relationship, but because I want to show that there are other problems from their perspective that highlight the downsides of a DM reboot. As I said before, I think people overlook these problems when discussing this idea. I'm saying these things not because I don't want a DM reboot. I don't care too much what the anime does as long as I find it entertaining, I'll watch it. But after learning about Link Shock and what the anime writers have said, it's hard for me to see them going through with a DM reboot or any new Master Roll anime. Now, if they do announce one at Jump Festa, alright then, I was wrong, but for everything I've seen, I just don't see them doing this in any way. Plus, what I think is more likely going to happen is that Konami is going to continue with Rush, especially with how popular it's been in Japan, and maybe we might get lore anime alongside it. Remember back in spring when Konami Animation Studios was announced? We still don't know what exactly they're going to be doing with this studio, and based off the trailer, it's possible that we might be getting lore anime, so there's still hope for the anime as a whole, it just depends on what they announce at Jump Festa. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say on this topic. Again, if you want better context, please watch my last video to get a better understanding of the things I've said. Also, this is just my opinion on this whole situation. I could be wrong, but I'm just going off the things that I've seen, so yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you around.